Now it's time for EEEZ Around the Table with your host, Easy, who I'm pretty sure is easier than me. Earmuffs, kids. Adults only. Just the way I like it.
And that means I must have pushed the right button this week, Doug, because I think it's the first time with Spreaker that I played the right intro since we switched. But that means it is a Tuesday night at 10 o'clock at Lenny, Melnick, FantasySports.com, the Legend Sports Network. I am Easy Kill, and I have Doug Boyle.
Hello.
Slowly becoming the co-host. I think, is that you I hear? Is it when I hear me, I think I'm hearing it through you?
That's me. I'm sorry about that.
That's okay. No, as long as someone's out there and can hear us.
I usually listen to the opening of the show so I can make sure it comes through.
I appreciate
your intro lady was echoed, but I don't know what that might have been the double speaker or something like that.
All right. Hey, she doesn't get paid much, so she wants
only
to
for your information.
Only right. Anyone listening, just ignore whatever. But I was worried. We did take a week off last week. And I do want to thank everyone again. I have had a sick father-in-law, been in the hospital for a while. And I appreciate everyone who, with the well wishes and everything. But finally got to come home tonight. So really I had a lot of things going back and forth where I couldn't always be here. So last week I could only do one show, and it happened to be the show we did where I had Wes Martin on. So we just did a fantasy sportscast show, and Wes came on, and I appreciate that too. A lot of the chat room was pretty active last week. I don't know if you were here for that show, Doug. Did you get to listen to it?
Yeah, I was the one that was making. I made some jokes and stuff. I was the one that wrote did you ask him to say "show me the money"?
Oh yeah, okay, you're right. I read that one. Right,
I was doing the agent jokes. It was
right. Okay, I try. And I actually had some local people that were listening. A few then have come up to me and said, "Hey," or "I was so and so at chat room and whatever." And and somebody said something. I said, "Yeah, I saw that," but unfortunately, when you're doing a show, you can't just. You can't read. I know some shows I can. Some shows there's nobody on where we don't have much to go. I could probably read every single chat line that comes up. But others, it's hard, to.
If you have a guest on, the guest takes precedence over that. I hope.
Sure.
I imagine the chat room is, these are adults that have been doing this for long enough. Like, yeah, we know.
Yeah, most of the ones, right? Obviously, the ones from Lenny's group understand. They don't care. But again, I did have a few new listeners that did listen, last week from our local area that were interested in Wesley. Not me, but Wesley. And actually, I got multiple comments in the community about they thought it was kind of cool that there was a place where they could go out and hear him talk. Because a small town, people are interested in that, when you have one person come out of your town that no one else can experience, they want to hear that. So that's pretty cool. So like I said, I missed one show technically of a roundtable. So I wasn't even sure if we'd have a roundtable night or who'd show up, but Doug,
you can count on me.
You made it. Appreciate it for a while. Right. Doug, it's up to you. The roundtable's 2 hours. Keep me on track.
We have two people. We have two people. That's not really a circle. It's more of a line.
Well, okay. That's true. All right. I'm going to go with that. You're the smart one here.
To be a round table, you need more than two, I imagine.
Yeah, you can do a lot. I go into some bars where they had those small little round tables with a couple of stools and,
like a quaint English pub does that.
Right. Yeah. I like that. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. I'm back on board. I like the
English pub. That's what we're going to go with. All right.
Yeah.
I'm there. I'm all about that.
I was going to I do the show on Saturday morning. I was going to bring a friend of mine in from, we've added a new person to our show because we had somebody leave. His name's Stevie O, and you'll probably hear from time to time.
Round table material.
He texted me. He goes, apparently there's a Warriors game on.
Nah, darn it, you people that are interested in, I know it's a sports cast, a sports network, and it is hard. I guess now that I think about it, I should have one of these monitors. I just watched my Reds get beat by your Cubs. I'm pissed at you anyway.
Do they still play NBA, or they just give the thing to the Warriors at the end of the year?
No, I would agree with you to a point, but I'm a little excited about this. I mean,
no, I'm knocking it a little bit, but
I think, especially with Durant being a little hurt right now. I mean, there's, anything could happen. So, but I lost it because one of my things to discuss today, again, when there's just the two of us, the topics can go a lot of different directions, Doug. But
yeah,
this NBA lottery ball thing. I enjoy watching it. I enjoy
I don't know why
on owners' faces, when their balls don't bounce their way. I find it entertaining, but obviously, this year seemed to be a pretty big one because a lot of people think that the next Michael Jordan, the next LeBron James is here, that this is the next, the next thing. I don't know personally.
What's the guy's name?
Huh?
What's the guy's name?
I got it here.
He got. I know that
Zion Williams.
My alma mater went up against him.
Zion Williamson.
Yeah, UCF went up against him, and we had his number most of the way. And I figure he's pretty easy to stop as long as you have a guy who's 7'7" on your team.
Well, Doug, you know me. I'm a hair older than you.
There are not that many 7'7" guys out there, but we did a good job on the guy.
This conversation comes up a lot. I have seen many of can't misses miss. I've seen it. I'm sorry. I mean,
Ralph Sampson was the big one, right? He was like who? Yeah,
but Ralph Sampson was, and that's the point. It all comes.
Who was the guy drafted?
Ralph Sampson was on some teams that went to championships.
He was drafted in the year that Jordan got drafted. It was Jordan 3, Elijah on 1,
Baldry or something like that.
Like that guy was supposed to be a can't miss, whoever he was.
Right.
I remember the story.
I know Kevin's out there, but I don't know Kevin's NBA. Cam knows everything. Daughtry's the singer,
but I think it was like Brad Daugherty.
Daugherty, that's it. You got it right. Right. I know I can't miss. And
I remember being in Chicago when we picked Jordan.
Right. There was a Bowie. There was a big. He also
Bowie too.
Right.
Bowie's the number 2 guy.
Right, because Jordan went 3rd.
I was in Chicago at the time that happened. I was in high school, and I was really into sports, and the thinking in Chicago was, we just don't need a guard. We got Reggie Theus. We got this guy Quentin Daly.
Reggie Theus.
They're both pretty good players. Like, we really need a big man, and we were just so disappointed to get Michael Jordan. Like, oh man, we had to settle for Jordan.
Right, we had to settle for Jordan.
The story is too that when he came to Chicago, the Bulls didn't even send somebody to go get him.
Right,
so he hired a chauffeur from the thing, and he kept that guy as his chauffeur the rest of his life. But he was like, we didn't even send a car for him. That's how disappointed we were to get Jordan. Which I guess
who won the lottery tonight, guys? I've been at work.
The Pelicans.
Are you serious?
Yeah, the Pelicans got first. Memphis.
No way.
Yes, Dan. I've never lied to you.
I trust you. That's just ugh.
Yeah, the Pelicans, the Grizzlies, the Knicks, Lakers, Cavaliers. That's your top 5.
Wow.
The long-standing and frustrated Pelican fan base deserves this sort of thing.
Right. New Orleans, a big basketball mecca. I know. I miss Big John. I know, people, Big John was, but I definitely miss.
Do you want me to hit him up and see if he can come on the round table? I know his information.
I have it too. I would be curious. He was so excited that the Knicks might get him.
I know, dude.
Big John.
I was keeping an eye on that.
Big John, if you're still listening to my shows, you're welcome. I mean, come to the round table and give me your blow up on that.
I kind of missed him. Like,
my question, and now Dan's here. Welcome, Dan. Sorry, softball got canceled on Monday, and man, I just fall asleep. It's much easier to stay up for your show if I have basketball or softball before.
It's okay. I got a game in like an hour, so I'm only doing the first hour of the show tonight. I got to go.
I'm telling Doug's in charge of time. If we go over, Now we'll probably go more than an hour, but even if we stop at an hour, I'll be happy once in a while. But 2 hours is now the max. So even if I don't care, it's Andrea. If Andrea comes on with 1 hour and 58 minutes, he's going to be able to say hi.
Yeah, I did a 37-minute show last night. It was fucking great.
Well, what I found is, especially like your show, sometimes those 30 minutes ones, you're so knowledgeable. The information I get in 30 minutes is sometimes greater than some shows that last 2 hours. Like this show, I've always said this show is not, this isn't your come and get great fantasy information at this show. This show is for us. Now, obviously, there's just 4 of us here. This show is for sports fans / fantasy people to come on and give each other some shit, talk about weird and crazy things.
Talk whatever you want to talk about.
The first thing, and again, Dan's going to be upset because he doesn't care, I'm sure. But the first thing I want to get out of the way, just because, Doug, you're on, and obviously last week would have been better, but the Kentucky Derby thing. I've been watching them my whole life. I would have bet money that they would never switch that the best horse won. Let's just let it go. The average fan won't understand if you switch it. I know enough about horse racing to know it, that if that happens at any track, they're DQing the guy. But I just didn't think you could do it on that stage, and they did it. What's your opinion there?
It took him 22 minutes to make a decision.
I think it took 22 minutes.
Can I ask a question to both of you guys about this specifically? Yeah. So do you think this sets a precedent with other major sports to contest things at game time, like or right at the end of a game? Because there's so many games, you could just go back in time in any major sport. There's been all these contested, last second finishes. Oh, there was a controversy with a rule and blah, 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 blah. Do you think that because it's the first time I think that I can ever remember seeing something like that on this large of a stage happen like this, right?
I've seen it happen at the Breeders' Cup, which is probably the 4th largest. Between there's the Triple Crown races. The next biggest event is the Breeders' Cup. I've seen them DQ a winner there. But It happens all the time in regular races.
Right, Dan. I don't know if you follow horse racing. I'm not a huge horse racing, but I follow the big one, and I follow a few local things around here. There are rules that the average person just doesn't understand. But if you go to a track and you watch it, people will question it, and these things happen. But yes, this is a big event. People not everyone in America understands that the Kentucky Derby is a very, very big sporting event in our country, if not the world. I mean, a lot of these horses do come from all over the world now.
They had a horse from Japan and a horse from the UAE.
I mean, we talk about the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is highly viewed in America, but I'm pretty sure some of the Kentucky Derbies worldwide get just as much of an audience as our Super Bowl, if I'm not mistaken. So,
especially because it's only 2 minutes long. So it's people are watching it even if they're not watching it live. I bet you by the end of I bet half the people on the planet.
Well, the fact that, it's not only that, they took an event that lasts 2 minutes, and obviously the delay went, technically, I know you said 22 minutes. I think that was from the time the actual,
the complaint
when the complaint came in, but it was
like 4 minutes late.
It was almost 30 minutes after the actual finish of the race that we got a result.
I was going to say
that. Go ahead. No, I was going to say, Doug, but based on your information last week, you told me something that I didn't know, and that's what, on these major horse races that we normally, what do you normally race? You said 12, and then they bump it up to 20 for the major ones. Is that correct?
Well, I mean, the truth is a standard gate has 14 slots. And
14,
usually races are under that. They'll bring in an extra one for 6 to bring it to 20. I've never seen a race go above 20.
And so I just saw a lot of people complaining on Twitter that, well, hey, the fact that you're running this many horses in a race, you can't expect them to be perfect and not run, because that was essentially the issue, right? Was one horse crossed in front of another one illegally? I just don't fully understand the whole situation.
Yes. You can't. In horse racing, you can't go from lane 1 to lane 5. Now, if he'd have just gone from lane 1 to lane 2, probably no one says anything. This isn't NASCAR where Rubbin's racing, because there's living creatures that can get hurt. And that's really the reason the rule's there, to prevent injury from the horses and then obviously the jockeys.
What the guy did was, the guy had the inside lane. He was running in the 2 lane with like the 1 lane empty. And realistically speaking, the Wart Will, the horse that was hit, he was probably thinking about moving inside. Right at that moment, this horse went from the 2-lane to the 3-lane right in front of him, and his head hit the other guy's flank. And you can't initiate that kind of contact. There was a problem with that right there. The guy who was riding Wart Will had two choices. He could run it hard and probably cause a tumble, or he could pull up his horse. So he was wrong. He's like, I had to break stride because of what this guy did. You can change lanes, but you can't change lanes into another horse, and that's what the guy did. You have to kind of clear it. Think of it like on when you're driving your car on the road, right? Sometimes a car will get in front of you in your lane, you're like, that's normal. And sometimes you're like, I've just been cut off, you jerk. Right?
Well, my question is, was he guaranteed to win if that wouldn't happen? Because they essentially awarded the guy that got cut off the win, right? Like, do you think he would?
No. The guy that got cut off did not win.
No, he pulled up, broke stride, wound up in 9th place, got pushed up to 8th when the guy got disqualified. Right. And so that's the thing. They also
so now I get it. So the guy that did it won the race and got disqualified. That makes sense.
Right. He only got disqualified, which means the horse that raced, because technically the horse that came in second didn't get touched at all. He was far enough outside. Now, some people are saying he did get some.
He got moved a little bit. He probably, the move probably cost him a stride.
Right.
One stride.
So, but
he got beat by many strides.
Now, first of all, only because we have Kevin. Kevin's the only one out there in the chat room at Lenny Melnick, fantasysports.com or fantasyfan.com. You can come and join our chat room. One, I feel bad, Kevin. I dissed you that you weren't Arnie, but you did give us the Bowie name. And then he does say the Breeders' Cup is a bigger purse. And I do think that, right. The Breeders' Cup gives away the most money of the Triple Crowns.
Like with the Kentucky Derby,
I think
with the Kentucky Derby, there's one important race, maybe two. Like you have the Kentucky Derby, the Lazy Susan, or the Black Eyed Susan, or Lazy Susan.
Right.
And you have two important races out of the 13. The Breeders' Cup is exactly that. It's like they take every group of horses that are out there. There are 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, and they make the 2-year-olds race and the 3-year-olds race. Then they make the geldings race. And so in every little group, there's a big prize for each group. Nothing near what you get for Kentucky Derby, but when you're looking at a dozen
for the
races,
whole day, they give out more money.
The dozen races where every race is important. It's sort of like, it's sort of like having like the Little League World Series on the same day as the College World Series.
Now, this went a step further. I think they announced yesterday that the jockey is getting suspended for 15 days. I think I feel worse about that than what actually happened, because immediately after the race, when the woman went up to interview the jockey after the race, and she said something, he says, well, you know what, I blah, 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 first I want to thank, somebody for helping me win this race. But then he goes, man, I'm glad we made it, because he was so scared and so spooked of the crowd. And then that's what they said later. That horse moved not because of the jockey. He moved because he came around that curve and just was not expecting that crowd, which obviously you can't simulate in practicing. So my argument is that's true. The fact he said it immediately, I kind of believe him. But if that's true and the horse got spooked, I don't think you can penalize him for 15 races.
Well, I there's two things. One, it was 15 races. That's pretty steep.
15 days. Okay, 15 days. It covers 2 weeks, 3 weekends. Something weird where he's actually can't race for 3 weekends, which for a jockey is that can be big money for them.
The thing about it is that he's the one expected to keep the horse in his lane, so it is technically his fault. He had capacity to move to the inside, and he actually made a choice to stay that, like he was blocking out the inside 4 feet
right
from everybody the whole way.
But still, I know what you're saying there, but you look at the replay, the problem is lane 1 had deep water in it. So coming around that curve, I thought he was actually already out of lane 1 around the curve and was closer to lane 2 at that point. But to say going into the inside, I think is easier for us to say. But when you're on that horse and you look down, it looks like a little river going down around that corner of that track. It would be hard to push your horse down there. But I don't know. I just thought that I don't think he did it on purpose. So for me to penalize him, I thought was a little tough.
Well, I think that's the long term, the long term effect of what this is. Like, had they allowed this to stand, then it would have been saying to the world that if you're a jockey, you can effectively block out other horses to win the race.
No, the average fan didn't know that. The average fan
didn't do it. I'm just talking the jockeys. Those jockeys are going to do whatever it takes to win. They're highly skilled athletes. It's like they know how to ride horses. And they know how to do these
on top of that type of a horse also.
Yeah. I do agree with you. I believe that it seemed like I believe that it was a mistake, not deliberate, but there were some choices that the guy could have made, and he didn't make those choices. And I understand why he got a penalty. It's a pretty steep one, but it's because it's not really because of how serious his fine was. It's not how serious his action was, but it's probably because they want to make a point that on this stage, this is important that you don't do this because people don't like to see races won by a committee decision.
Right. Or like Dan was saying, any sporting event, nobody, and unfortunately, that is part of the problem with the way we are sports fans. Whatever call gets made, and I think, again, this was Dan's original question. I don't know if we still have Dan, but, referees, umpires, officials, they struggle with making that call on the final play because that is the play that people will remember if it changes the outcome of a game or an event. Even though they would make that same call, and basketball to me is the one I think I noticed the most, where, hey, they've made that call all night, and now with 10 seconds to go, they let them play, and some people think that's, kind of outrageous that you make the calls. If you don't make the calls, you don't make the calls. You're consistent all the time, even if it means you blow the whistle, on a buzzer beater. So what do you think, Doug? Are you fine with them? And you always hear that, don't, hold the whistle, the last 30 seconds, let them play.
I have a love-hate relationship with that concept because, it's one of the reasons why I'm not.
Until it affects us, until it affects us.
One of the reasons why I'm not as big a fan of football. It's like I hate spending 2.5 hours of my life, and then there's like one play with one foul.
I watch a lot of football. That very rarely happens. It just happened to happen in New Orleans.
It more happens in the NBA where they call games super tight in the last couple minutes. They let them play loose.
It happens in every single close NFL game. There's like one play you can point to. Now, the good news is many of the NFL games are not close. But if the game comes down to if it's 28-27, you can look at like where did that pass interference penalty come from, or that guy was being held back there and he couldn't get the ball, whatever. There's always something there. It's like if you go to Twitter after any game of the year in NFL or college football that's won by 3 points or less, you'll find 45 people talking about how one play changed it, and more often than not, it's the ref's decision, and you just don't like it.
Well, the problem is in most sports, except for baseball, in baseball, the umpires have to make the call. They make a call, but also there's times where there isn't a close call. Unfortunately, in basketball and football, it's a physical sport. There's always things going on. And some people even say in football, you could technically blow a whistle on every play if you wanted.
Can I tell you a dumb story about my career as a high school?
I haven't heard enough dumb stories today. Go ahead.
My career as a high school basketball referee. I did it I started out as a baseball referee, and then I moved into basketball and I did it for the Florida Associated Christian Schools. So it was only like private schools. And one of the rules was like, there's different rules in high school. And one of the rules is like, you can't taunt the other team. And there's a list of things you can do to taunt. And one of the things that's considered taunting is dunking during warmups, right? So this guy, there's not many guys in high school who can dunk. So this guy dunks during warmups, and I go over to him and I say, I'm going to give you a warning, don't worry about this.
It's a technical foul, technically.
It's a technical foul. I'll give you a warning. You might not have known you cannot do that.
I have seen at least 2 basketball games that started at the free throw line because there was a technical foul during warmup.
Yeah, so I'm going to give you this, like a warning, and then so halftime warmup comes up, and he does the same thing. So we start the second half with a technical foul shot, and they get 2 shots. And then the game goes, and it's like a division championship. It's an important game. The game goes, and it's a tie at the end of the game. So they get this little time off, and they come up with that little bit of warm-ups. And in that freaking little bit of warm-ups, that jerk dunks the ball.
Yeah, that's just an idiot then.
So I give the guy 2, and I kick the other guy out of the game, and the crowd really wants to kill me because it's away. You know what I mean? Like
They
it's
don't
their team.
understand. Right. Fans are
The game. And so at that point, it's like they said, like the people that monitored it said, Doug, you did the right thing, but we can't put you back there ever again. Like, I get the problem.
Right.
So, the moral of the story, well, the way I feel vindicated about this is I heard that in the next year he did the same thing during a warm up, and he cracked his wrist on the goal.
Okay, but still, that's a coach problem.
Serves him right.
Amen.
Yeah,
now, what has to take place for technically to be a dunk? If he just goes above the rim and puts it through the hoop, but physically never touches anything, is that a dunk?
I would say that probably is, but you could tell what this thing is.
Okay, I'm just saying.
What if you had the ball just above it and dropped it? Yeah, we're talking about high school kids, generally speaking. I might go 4 or 5 games without anybody with the capacity to dunk on a team.
Right. Right. I get that.
So the guy that has it flaunts it. You know what I mean?
I got you. Right, trying to intimidate.
So the question I said is that's the right call, but it's in the wrong spot. It felt awful. That's
but you have to make it. That's the point, though. Yeah, I do agree.
Same thing in the Kentucky Derby. It's like him getting disqualified is the right call.
I know.
You have to make it. It is a shame that it was decided that way.
Dan, did you watch the Kentucky Derby or just get involved once you knew there was controversy? If you're still with us,
controversy? No, I don't watch that crap.
What?
It's not my thing.
That doesn't make it crap. That's all.
I didn't say it. I don't mean it's crap, but I just don't watch that stuff. I'm sorry, but it's something I'm not into, so I don't really pay much attention.
Well, but that goes to my main topic tonight, if the word main topic for this show, because it came up the other day, and I don't know if any of you guys were listening, but it came up the other day in somebody's show. I think maybe JJ's on Friday. And I'm just curious, like I said, it'd been nice. We have a little bigger group, but I mean, and I'm asking this in 2 ways. First of all, because Lou answered it the way, and JJ answered it the way that, to me, I didn't ask it that way. What month is the best month for sporting events?
October.
Okay, see? But are you saying that because you think it's the best because you enjoy that month the best? Or is it really the month that has the most, high-end sporting events? Because I don't think
it has all. I believe it has all 4 major sports going at once there. And I could be wrong on that, but I believe that NBA and hockey are getting started either preseason or early season, and baseball's finishing up. Playoffs and NFL's full swing.
Okay. My argument is that's the problem. The only playoff going on is baseball in October. And in most cases in October, there isn't a World Series. The World Series is usually the next month now.
So, always in October. What are you talking about? It's always, it usually finishes game 6 or 7, usually runs into Halloween, but it always starts in the last month of or the last week of October. But it's playoffs though.
So
here's my baseball playoffs are awesome.
That doesn't make it. Okay, that's the problem. You're answering like JJ and the way JJ and Lou did, which is, to you it's awesome. And that's fine.
You mean the correct answers?
I'm not asking you what you enjoy the most, because I enjoy sports 12 months a year. My argument is this month, the month of May, in my opinion, has more big sporting events than any other month. If you like them or not, it doesn't matter. You don't have to like the Indianapolis 500 to know it's a huge sporting event. You don't have to be a fan of the Kentucky Derby or the Preakness to know those are huge sporting events. You're not
winning this argument, easy.
Which not no.
I mean, I think that there's a point to what he's saying. I agree.
We have a month of baseball that has ended. To me, baseball's starting now. I get it. I enjoy this month better than I do the first month, because the first month, other than opening day, is shit baseball. So baseball's getting better. We have a PGA Tour. We have one of the majors in golf that goes this month. We have college championships in all the spring sports. We have girls college softball, which I enjoy watching. We have the Coca-Cola 600, the only 600-mile, professional race that we have happens this month.
You have the Premier League playoffs.
I had that written down. We have soccer. My point isn't. My only point is.
My love for Tottenham.
Major events happening, not which one we like or enjoy the most. Because I agree, I love the beginning of football. I love the end of baseball. October might, but I still not even sure if October, if we're talking major events other than the World Series, what other major going on?
I would answer if I were answering the question. I would answer it very similar to Dan, but I would have scaled it back a month. I like September because you get the Bennett races and the startup of college football. And those two things together are probably the things I like the most, But it's like I didn't even think about the playoffs. But then again, I've been a Cub fan most of my life, and playoffs are a new thing to me.
Well, and Kevin Royals is saying the same thing. His favorite is also October, and I'm pretty convinced my favorite is probably October also. But I do watch a lot of sports. I will watch almost all these sports I named, including we have the hockey playoffs. I've never been a hockey fan because Columbus got in it. I watch those. They've been exciting. We have the NBA playoffs. That's exciting. My point is I watch them all. I will watch racing all day on the Sunday of Memorial Day. I will watch the Grand Prix in the morning. I will watch the Indy 500 in the afternoon. I will watch the Coca-Cola. My wife knows that day is mine. It is racing all day long. I'm not a huge racing fan. I'm a huge event person, and those are 3 huge races, and it's a big day. Some people say it's the number one, motorsports day of the year.
No, it probably
is that date because of the 3 major, all 3. Now, NASCAR would argue it's not one of their majors, but it's a step down. But it is their only 600-mile race, which I like. I mean, it is amazing how often in that 600-mile race that at 500 miles, when most races would end, the people in first, second, third at that point aren't even there later on. So, hi, Andrea. I do pay attention to you. I just, you're doing good. Do you need me to post you anything in there? But that's all I'm saying. I'm just saying, Dan, in October, what other than this World Series, what other major sporting event is going on in October? We might.
I mean, do you really need one? You're not losing me. I'm working. I'm trying to keep my mic on mute, so I'm not.
I do appreciate that. Your video was up. I was more worried about.
Yeah, that's because I'm on my phone. I told you, and it's either that or you're going to look at my pocket.
Nope, you sound. But my argument is, I get it. You're a baseball guy, so your point is, other than the World Series, you don't need any other major event. I don't. There's football and college football going on, but. Again, I think you're answering the question if I was to say, hey, what's your favorite month to watch sports? I'm not asking that, Dan. I'm asking what month has the most major sporting events in it? And I would.
Is that what you asked?
Well, you could argue February is a good month too.
That's the way I tried to ask it that way, because when I ask it the other way, everyone
you could argue February is a good month too. You got the start of Daytona 500, right? You've got the Super Bowl usually is in February, and then you've got spring training starting for baseball. So I always enjoy February as well.
And you get this, the finalization in NCAA basketball toward March Madness.
Right.
You get all the championship games. The SC championship, the WAC championship, the Big 8, the Big 12 championship.
Now, and see, I didn't even put now.
This is correct.
I mean, obviously the NFL draft actually technically happened at the end of April, so I can't count that. But we do have mini camps. There is football stuff going on.
But when's the combine though?
The combine's
like March.
Back after, right? It's in March. Yeah, combine's March. Draft is April, because we had Wesley on before the combine or right at combine time, and then had him on again last week. So.
Hail to the Redskins, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that today.
Did you become a follower of Wesley on his Twitter and stuff?
Yeah, I started following him.
All right. Yeah, he's been working pretty hard. I say a lot of the media coming out of Washington about Wesley's been pretty good, actually.
Oh, dude, the media in Washington, the fan base in Washington's already all over him. They love him. Like I said, they're already convinced he's going to be a starter.
Right.
And like I said, I follow my Redskins Twitter. I mean, I follow baseball, I know everything, but when it comes to NFL, I strictly pretty much follow the Redskins and maybe a little bit of news overall.
Andrea posted this. How many months do we have NHL, NFL? Well, technically we don't have NHL. We just have this month. We have NHL, NBA, and Major League Baseball, Premier Soccer. So you have those 4 major going on. You just don't have football. I don't think there's any month where we have all 4. I don't think.
The only time we have all 4 and with major soccer too would be that October. And it's really small because
that's true. Basketball is starting up right then.
Basketball and the NHL are just starting up. You get that, but
okay, I'll give you that. There's another mark towards October. So you're saying in October, and I'm going to trust you on this. On October, all 4 major sports are active at the same time.
Yep,
that would be pretty awesome. So
technically not at the same time because I guess baseball does go into November nowadays. So yeah, usually it used to be that they would end and like a week later basketball would start, but now it's.
But I think basketball starts in October, right?
Yeah.
So,
but we didn't used to have this long playoff thing where the last games are like November 2nd, November 3rd. It's like there's always going to be an overlap nowadays.
All right. I'm still. I don't think either one of you convinced me that May isn't the one that has the most high end sports activities. But
I would say that I get most excited March because it started spring training, and I'm a big spring training guy, and the start of baseball gets me jumped. And I think that there's very few things that are as entertaining as I wouldn't say I'm an NCAA men's basketball fan, but the March Madness is really fun to watch. I watched that, and then you also have
right. Actually,
and then you have that,
now Andrea in November. I would agree. I definitely put October ahead of November because, like I would say, in most times the World Series now hopefully ends before November, even though it can go into November.
But then they give like somebody the nickname Mr. November, like Derek Jeter or something, because now we have so many November games.
Do we
have a play on Mr. October?
I would have. You'd have to look up when the World Series ended the last few years. So I know November is now in there. And we have played World Series games in November, but I do agree that majority of it, I don't think it starts in November. See, if it starts in November, you guys are definitely going to lose the argument of October being, I'm not saying that the playoffs aren't fun to watch, but if you move the major event out of October, then October doesn't come close to comparing to May as far as top sporting events. Hey, another thing that came up, because obviously you guys are wrong on this one, and Andrea says it's always in November.
No, it's a relatively new thing since they moved to having the wild card.
Yeah, but before that it was been 10 years. Now, how long we had the wild card now?
I don't know, but I watched more baseball.
Says October sucks. I don't know. She must not like. I do like.
Like the National League Division Series.
Like the Division Series.
Some of the best games are in those Division Series. I think you get the Yankees and Red Sox play each other.
I have found
those are great because you know that one of the two teams will be disappointed.
Okay, Dan, I'll ask you first then. Let's say, I don't know, we'll take your favorite. We'll start with baseball. I know that's your favorite sport, but you do watch most sports. If you were told you could only watch one, the divisional series or the finals in baseball, which would you pick? Not knowing.
What do you mean?
Let's say you have no clue who's going to be in it.
The World Series, obviously.
Okay, so the World Series.
Yeah, me too.
Now, what if I said you could watch both divisional championships or the World Series? Would that matter to you if you only could pick one or the other? I could watch both, divisional championships or the World Series. Still the World Series?
Could I listen to the World Series on the radio?
Oh, his mic's breaking up there.
Yeah, he's walking around. That messes with.
And what about you, Doug? If you could only,
I'm in a clone room right now.
All right, if you could only watch one, Doug, which would you watch? I mean, if you
I think I'd watch the World Series, but
a lot of times the divisional series are more entertaining.
And especially, it's been a little different the last 4 years when the Cubs have been in it. Like I actually have a team in there. Like I actually said last year when the Cubs got knocked out early, and as early as humanly possible, I was the least interested in the playoffs that I've ever been in my life. Because when they were when they're not in it, I got to enjoy everybody for what they were, and now I have to deal with the fact that my team got eliminated.
I think I'm always different than you two, which makes this fun because I think if someone said for the rest of my life, I could either watch both divisional championships in baseball or the World Series, and that was it, I would pick the divisional championship because I'd want one, I'm going to see more, and two, the odds are because of that you're going to see, maybe a better outcome or a better thing. And same with the word in Super Bowl. I think if they said you can watch both divisional championships or the Super Bowl the rest of your life, which would it be? I am a believer that the divisional championships are better to watch than the Super Bowl. Now, I get Dan puts the relevance of the game or the series on top of that, and I know that does trump a lot of it. But, I don't know. I think I would rather watch divisional championships if I had to pick. And Malpal, yes, we are live, and there is there's a little play button up there on the. Actually, I popped out of that room. I'm going to trust that we're still live up on top of the thing there. Andrea didn't say one way or the other. But Andrea, I had to laugh at Andrea because Andrea said she's arguing with herself.
We're live.
Topic. All right. I show we're live, so I think we're good. I
can do the quick check.
And then
while we listen to the background music of Dan shuffling around papers, I think he's moving a file cabinet right now.
Dan's moving.
He's moving a couch or a file cabinet. I don't know.
Can you guys hear me? I thought you couldn't hear me.
No, you're not.
My mic back on mute.
You're not muted. Don't talk bad about me. Now
we're good.
Now he's muted, and we're still on. Yeah, we're on, Malpal. You're welcome to join this conversation where Dan and Doug just always beat up on me, because I'm the fan. I'm a fantasy fan. I'm a fan of everything.
I'm a fan too. I said I like those gearing up moments because I know my guys are in it more than the thing. Like in October, in September in baseball, odds are good. My team has a shot. In March in baseball, everybody's got a shot except for the Orioles. And the Reds.
In the Reds. Unfortunately, I'm when it comes to baseball, I'm that first month, I don't get it. I didn't. Fantasy has made the first month actually for me more entertaining. The first few weeks or so of baseball, I just realized it's not the best quality of baseball. I personally think they start way too early. We're playing in wet, and unfortunately nowadays we're playing World Series is in weather that's too cold to be playing in. And I just don't think baseball wasn't invented to play in 38-degree weather or 42-degree weather. So personally, I just don't believe that's the weather we should start in. And I definitely don't believe that's the weather our World Series should be.
I at the same time, I like the early stuff. I don't like those games when they're playing in Chicago and Colorado. But I'm talking about, I live in Florida. I mean, it's perfectly fine weather down here for them to have those spring training games, and they're fine to go watch.
Right.
Yeah, it is a shame that I think they started too early. They need to bring back the double headers. You make every team play 6-8 double headers and get that first game back in April.
Hold on, I'm typing. I just realized I told Malpal what to do, even though in the chat room he said he can't hear us. That's like Lenny in the morning will ask people if they have sound, that say, I can't hear you, Lenny. Well, do you have sound? It's like, we are live, so I guess I better. Oh, I just said we are live, but that's true too.
We are live.
Yeah, that's, you gotta love spell correctors.
I was wondering about that. You see those things online where they'll say like some of the funniest corrections.
Yeah, the funny auto corrects.
They're always changing like words into swear words.
And right.
My understanding of those things work is it learns from you, right?
I think
so when I spell check on my computer, it never substitutes penis.
Right.
I don't type penis.
That's true. We are an adult. We're an adult show here. You can say the P word.
Well, I'm just saying it's like they have words, but it's like who's going around like texting with thousands of swear words,
right? But
to make you learn that
that's because it's clickbait. They know you're not going to click on it if you thought they were just going to show you that life and live, were easily swapped out. So that's no fun. And Andrea, Lenny did cut down his pregame today, just about a minute or so, and actually talked baseball. I mean, not near as entertaining as when he just, goes off a little.
It's like I've been part of this Lenny community, like listening for 3 years. I never knew he did a pregame until actually this morning. Not this morning. Last week.
When I get to work, I always get to work early and I'm doing stuff and all that. So I always will put it on, but I'm always making my coffee like right at 5 till for some reason, so that my coffee's, so I'm in the lunchroom and I'll just hear the speaker come on real loud. Can anybody hear me? You know why? Yeah. Welcome. This is the pregame show. Check sound. And I can tell he'll say it like 9 times. And I might be the only one in the chat room. So I got to run through the kitchen area to get around to my desk where I type in Lenny, I hear you, and then go back and get my, stuff. But if I couldn't hear him, I wouldn't be able to type anything anyway. And sometimes he tells stories. He used to be, like I said, the last few days he's done baseball news, which my point then is, why wait till the show starts to get baseball news? That's why people are here. So it cracks me up. So usually he'll tell a story or talk about, the leaf blowers, the whole thing. So I enjoy it. Andrea's harassing him, and Lou hates it. I know when Lenny's not going to be on, if it's Andrea or Lou, I know they're going to be on, because at 5 till there is no pregame. It's just, them going. So, it kind of cracks me up. Now, like I said, this morning, he was only about a minute and a half. He really didn't. So I thought Andrea had really told him he wasn't allowed, or she was controlling the button or something. So, he cracks me up. Yes, Andrea, you know what? Just don't feed the monkey. Just, let them do their thing. Leave them alone. Let us enjoy what we're watching at the zoo. And I think it's funny. And especially now she doesn't edit it out. He told me that the other day, that she wasn't edited anymore. And I heard her, I think she said it too now. So they're not.
Yeah, we self-publish. So there's no editing moment.
Well, she could still. You can. I mean, you can go in
right afterwards. I've done that with mine.
You can go back into Spreaker, open up the file, and re-edit it. But it does. Hey, I'm just saying, Lenny cracks me up. And do
you have on your notes to talk about the death of that the pro wrestler in the ring?
Well, I had that as a note for tomorrow. That's me and Chris always talk about dead athletes. Sorry,
no, that's all right. I don't have any to say. I just thought it was an interesting story. The guy actually playing a sport. To me, like, that's the thing. It's like, I don't know much about pro wrestling, but when you hear a luchador dies, well, let's have a moment of silence for him.
Okay.
That's a moment.
There you go. Now, do you feel okay? Here, Andrea is the one, because me and her, back and forth on the kneeling thing. Do you think a moment of silence requires you to look down?
Apparently, I did it with New York. I'm actually pretty impressed that I didn't do this. I didn't sign myself, which is weird.
Okay, I'm just saying. I know when we do moment of silences, most people will look down. I don't know the person that we're having silence for. Are we assuming he's down there looking up at us? It seems like moment of silence, you'd want to look up.
For Silver King, the dead luchador who died in the ring. They're asking the thing, who's it for? That's what it's for. It's a guy died.
Right.
It'd be like if Madison Bumgarner threw a pitch and then just keeled over.
Well,
it would just be weird.
This guy isn't that famous. He's not one of the top names, but in my lifetime, I couldn't even count. This doesn't even surprise me anymore, because wrestlers, by far, I don't know, is dying during wrestling in the last 30 years? It seems like there's more deaths in the wrestling ring than obviously on the racetracks, or, I grew up a big race car fan in the 70s. Deaths happened yearly, in NASCAR and IndyCar and Grand Prix.
Yeah, at least every couple of years would be one.
There was deaths annually in racing in the 70s and early 80s. So that was pretty big. Obviously I think in baseball in my lifetime,
I don't think there's been any. There've been some indirect deaths. Like,
you hold on. I was watching live when the umpire died in Cincinnati.
The heart attack.
That was the heart attack. That happened. That happened like 2 pitches into the first game of the season.
Yeah, I forgot. That really wasn't a baseball related thing that happened. It was a heart attack.
But
no, that's the reason. That's the reason I didn't remember it. I was thinking of baseball stuff.
Right.
You're right.
Right. That was. Now I have always heard that there has been a death or two of guys being beamed with a ball, but way back. I don't know that that's ever happened in my lifetime.
Way back, but it wasn't like instantaneous. It was like they took them to the hospital. They died the next
later. In football, again, I'd have to go back. I'm not sure deaths. We've had paralyzed, players and stuff like that.
Wasn't there the guy that like shot his wife in the parking lot of the game that one year?
Okay.
He shot himself. There was a suicide. That's right.
Yeah, but that's a little different than during the actual game.
Kansas City, I think it was Kansas City Chiefs.
Basketball. Now, basketball, we had who was the college kid that was going to be drafted that had the heart attack right on the foul line?
It was. I always get confused. It wasn't Len Bias. It was the other guy.
Right. It was not. Lenny Bias ended up getting drafted ahead that year because this guy died.
Right? Was it Bo Kimball?
Yes. And the 30 for 30 about that event is pretty amazing. I know Andrea loves the 30 for 30s. So I've got to see that. I actually remember, I think it was late 70s, early 80s, where the college kid made a mistake, and then he went over to the pad around the to protect the goalpost, and he headbutted that and broke his neck at the same time. He paralyzed himself like instantly. That was a big deal.
I live in Florida, and every year there's a story of some kid playing football who
high school kids in football happens a lot more common, and I think
because of the heat and stuff. Like they do. I tell you, I coach baseball, and there's like weird rules when it comes to like like if somebody wants to get out of something, all they have to do is say to a coach, "I need some water."
Right.
And if you refuse water to a kid, like you're going to be legally responsible for everything. So it's like, hey, you got to do laps. It's like, can I get a glass of water? It's like, yeah, go get some freaking water.
Yeah, you have to. Right. When I did football in the mid 70s, if you asked for water, you the whole team then would not get water. It was like a penalty. Now
it's the lawyers got that down. Like that's the
now Andrea.
Did
the wrestler die of cocaine? Is that what you're asking, Andrea?
No, I think he's with she said
Len
that after
Bias died of a heart issue. Len Bias died.
The heart issue. Len Bias was cocaine induced.
Oh, Bias, right? Len Bias was the cocaine. The kid that died on the free throw line, and I want to say Maryland, but I don't think that's who he played for. I thought he was like one of the Loyolas, like Loyola Marymount or something like that. That might be it. Right. He died on the free throw of a heart. He had a heart problem. And again, the Len Bias 30 for 30 is also very good. Yeah, that's right. The AA coach that got hit in the head with the foul ball technically died during the game. That was almost instant, they said, even though they didn't announce it right away. Andrea, I agree. The John Daly one is by far one of the best. And Andrea said the word Tiger Woods about 20 times in the thing. Andrea, okay, I get it. Hank Gathers, thanks, my pal.
Hank Gathers, that's the name.
Andrea hates Tiger Woods. That's all. I just wanted to get that out there. I don't know.
I hate about Tiger Woods.
All right, Tiger. I mean, come on.
Can I tell you about when I almost met Tiger Woods?
What's the odd? I'm just saying, Andrea. What's the odds that one of the people that is the best at their sport would be a dick? That's just what Some people would say that's. I hear that about. Unfortunately, we hear that about a lot of our top. Pete Rose, dick. Jordan. To most people, there's a lot of people say a dick. Unfortunately, I think you have to almost be a dick to accomplish what they accomplish. You are so self-centered that becoming a dick is much easier when you're self-centered. I'm getting there, Doug. I'm going to try to become a dick as I become a.
I was much more successful in life when I didn't give a shit about anybody else.
Well, I'm just saying, a lot of people that are at the top of their field in sports seem to have a little dickness to them. And I don't know. Andrea is the one. Andrea gets the most pissed if I ignore her in the chat. It's not that I'm ignoring Andrea. I don't know if you noticed. EEZ likes to talk, and when I talk, I like to look at Doug. So I miss stuff, but I
it sounds like we're having a conversation.
What? Right.
The thing, like, one time I'm driving into McDonald's because the person I'm with wants an ice cream cone. The car in front of us is Tiger Woods, like some kind of Ferrari or something. Would you bump the car to meet him?
No. We've had that conversation before on the round table. I'm not that kind of person. I don't need to meet people. That's just that I'm that way. I don't have that. I'm not an autograph guy. I'm not a.
It's always kind of from McDonald's.
Yeah.
I got a $100,000 car and I need a McMuffin.
Right. Right. Now that reminds me though. I'm trying to think of the name of the movie. There's the movie with the two guys from Saturday Night Live where they're into the disco. This is older.
The Night of the Roxbury.
The Night of the Roxbury, where they ram. All I know is he's from 21 Jump Street. The guy, the character. They ram his car.
Rico.
Yes, right. Right. That's.
I actually don't know. I haven't seen the movie. I can just know these. I'm good at trivia.
Doug, that's dumb. I'm with EEZ. Wait. Henry's agreeing with me on something.
I'm with EEZ on. I'm not bumping the car. I always think of it because we actually had a conversation like let's tap him, because we were like it was like 8 a.m. and we had like been drinking all night, and we just thought it'd be a fun way to end the night to have a little discussion with Tiger Woods and exchange our insurance information.
Yeah,
so I didn't do it.
I do listen and sometimes watch Joe Rogan, Andrea, but I do pick and choose. I do pick and choose the guest when he's talking. Very intelligent person. So yes, I do. And speaking of that, the Dale Earnhardt Jr. interview that Joe Rogan did, and I'm a Dale Earnhardt Jr. fan and have listened to other things he's been on. By far, Joe Rogan got stuff out of him. I haven't heard very good conversation. So Joe Rogan has the ability to get people to say things I think they don't expect and whatever. So he's
that's the thing. Like I know there's a bit of a. I hate certain words because they connote certain things, but there's a New York centricity to this station and the people on it, and so there's a lot of people that are big fans of Howard Stern, and I particularly don't like him, but I do think like those kind of people are great interviewers, and I actually enjoy the interviees when he does it because he'll ask questions that no other person will. Like,
and that's why
a person that has no level of politeness will be a great interviewer.
Right.
I always thought that like I would love to see. I'm not a fan of Howard Stern. Every time I listen to it, I think. But I'd love to see him like host.
Yeah, like because back to people awesome. Say Howard Stern can be a dick, but he's also became the top of his field, and he became a dick because he's not afraid to ask questions either. And
could you imagine him like hosting the presidential debate?
He has turned around almost 180. Howard Stern is almost no longer a shock jock because he the whole thing's become a little more more mainstream, but but like I said, I'm Tiger Woods. I mean, like I said, I'm not a Tiger Woods fan one way or the other, but I am always a fan of someone that changes the game. I mean, I think we can agree that Tiger Woods brought an athleticism and a physical change to golf that made courses obsolete. I mean, they had to redesign courses. Not just because of Tiger, but because what Tiger did to the game, which is all the guys are now lifting weights and doing stuff. And,
and that's why you're a big fan of Barry Bonds, because what he did to the game of baseball changed the way baseball was viewed.
Obviously, if he hadn't got I'm a Bonds fan before he got caught with drugs. I mean, when he played in Pittsburgh, I thought I was watching one of the best baseball players of all time. I mean, even then he could do it all. I mean, he was like watching, to me, he was a Ken Griffey Jr. There's a handful of those that can do everything. And he was. Now, again, he also became a dick, and he also, I'm not sure legally. Have they ever really come down that he actually did it? I don't think he ever admitted to it. And I don't think they legally ever found that he technically did drugs, even though
I could have sworn there was actually like a criminal case that went against him.
Well, I know he was in that report of the guy who went down for it, and that guy said,
he
but I
didn't
don't
go out. But he didn't go down for using it, but the guy who gave it to him got
exactly
arrested
Right.
and convicted.
right.
So like that's functionally the thing. But I didn't mean to sidetrack you. I just thought it was kind of funny. You said change the game. I thought I'd just be kind of off topic. But yeah, guys that do things that change basketball. What Stephen Curry and Kerr have done with Golden State, and even like Mouse Davis in football when they brought the run and shoot in, and like those when people see something and make the changes, you got to always respect that.
Right.
Bill Walsh for the whatever they call that offense, West Coast offense.
Yeah, the West Coast offense. Right. He brought something to the table.
Buddy Ryan for the 2 linebacker set. They called the 46 zone, but it became the Tampa 2 that won there, and became a bunch of other ones afterwards. Yeah, you respect that. If a person can make that kind of mark on a sport.
Right. I'm reading Andrea's thing. Andrea's talking about a car crash. Now she's got me reading stories. Doug, I might have to pause the show while I read Andrea's.
We're at 11 o'clock, which is pretty good. You didn't get distracted for a full hour.
Right, a full hour. Well, wait, we're on the hours. I got to get better at this. Welcome.
I'll give you this story. Right here in Longwood, in one of my partner, the professor on my show, does another podcast. They do current events, and on that current events show, they always have the mayor of Longwood in. And just this week, they arrested a guy for going into the park in the middle of Longwood and playing basketball naked. Now, apparently, that's a thing. Now, the beauty of that is that people always make fun of the Florida man. We get to know and live with Florida man. So the story was
slam dunk naked.
He thought it would improve his game. That's what he said.
But you can't sue someone else for your son's actions. Unfortunately, Andrea, I think the false statement is
the other way around.
I think you can legally sue for anything. You might not win, but I think I can sue Doug's ex-wife I can make up something. I think legally I
should.
I think legally you can sue anybody for any reason.
Yeah. I think she has it reversed. In many cases, if you have a minor child and they do something, they can sue you for that.
Right.
That is the other way around.
Right. I agree. Hi, Dan. Welcome back.
Some parents are suing him because there's
Dan is talking, but I don't hear him.
I don't see him.
You don't see him either? Oh, wait. Oh, hold on. I didn't put him in.
There you go.
I forgot my software. Sorry.
No, it's okay. So I was watering. I have a clone room, which is essentially like this. It's almost like a cooler inside. It's insulated with like metal wall insulation, and it's almost like a Faraday cage inside. And I lose all reception when I get in there.
All right. Well,
I had a door open, and I was hoping it was going to work, but once I started to get to the back of it, I lost you.
All right. I do have a quick. This is a baseball rules question.
Go.
Because it actually happened the other day on TV where, and it's one of those where I think I know the rule because I've read the rule, but most people will say the rule is something different, and that is when the runner and the bag. The both feet come at the same time, who is out? When they both touch the bag exactly at the same time,
tie goes to the runner.
No. The answer to this is whatever the umpire said.
Right. Right. Dan just gave the answer that every Little League mom in the world would say, but that is not true.
That's written nowhere. The tie goes to the runner.
Dan, the real rule is written. The runner must beat the ball to the bag. So if you read it properly, he must beat. That would mean if there's a tie, he's out because the rule is specifically written.
So then how come every baseball broadcaster in the 80s when I was a kid said otherwise?
Well, I think it comes from like Sandlot baseball, because one of the things when you played baseball as a kid, like in a non-organized setting, is you had to do things to subvert fights, because usually when something went wrong, so rather than arguing over every little thing, you just made up this rule: tie goes the runner, so the runner always went on and you moved on.
I think in Little League, I think parents like offense in Little League. So in Little League, they give the tie to the runner, even though the rule is written that the runner must beat the ball to the bag. Well, unfortunately, if it's a tie, you didn't beat the ball. So now, most umpires that do it professionally or do whatever will tell you, they'll look at you and say, "There's never a tie." meaning that they saw it, they made the call. There's never a tie. So they would tell you that rule isn't even in effect either way, because they would say it wasn't a tie. Now, the other thing,
I actually have a friend who was a major league umpire, and he got screwed over during remember this whole strike of 95, 96, 94, somewhere in that area. He actually crossed the lines as a scab and ended up getting blackballed out of the league. And so now he's able to be as a college umpire. But he's a fun guy, man. He'll tell you all kinds of crazy umpiring stories. Maybe I could see if he'll come on one day.
All right. Now, Royals is saying there is not a tie, and that's correct. There technically can't be a tie, because then you'd have to have a do-over. That's why the rule is written that the runner must beat the ball. So that takes out the ties, because I'm sorry, and again, the one and I'm trying to think it just happened because it was a big deal and they replayed it like a million times, and they finally didn't change the call because there was not enough to reverse. They had called him out. But literally both feet, when they slowed it down, both feet touched that bag at the exact same time. I mean, as many plays that happen in baseball, there's people out there that
when you're saying both feet, you're saying like a pitcher coming over to cover first,
that happened to be
and the runner.
It was a pitcher and a runner both coming at the same time, and that made it a tie. Now, the way they get away from it the other way when it's in the glove, that obviously is harder to judge because you can't tell whether the ball actually hit. The problem is it's not considered a catch till the ball hits the leather of the glove. And then those first basemen, even in replay, you can't always tell that the ball physically hit yet. So you actually have to look at the back of the glove to see if it moves. So, it's a little harder, but, in this case, both feet touched. Now, the other, which now you said only the way Dan said it, because Dan's right. In Little League, people say a lot of things. The other one that you hear a lot is the hands are a part of the bat. You hear that all the time. Oh, the hands are part of the bat. Hands are part of the bat. Hands are part of the bat. Yeah. No, read the rule book. Never, ever are the hands a part of the bat. Never, ever. So,
but you never see people get called for a hit by pitch when you get like that hit off your knuckles.
Now, the only time, and even an umpire will tell you, they're not part of the bat. But if you are swinging at the ball and the ball hits your fingers or your hand instead of the bat, meaning it would have, if your hands weren't there, it still would have hit the bat. Then technically the ball just goes in play or it's a foul if you're swinging. But if you're moving your hands to get out of the way or doing anything like that, and it hits your hands and you're holding the bat, you're hit by pitch and you go down to first base. That's not considered a foul ball because the hands are never a part of the bat, and unless technically you're in a swinging motion. And then they say the hands aren't really part of the bat. It's the bat. And then you imagine the fingers not being there. It would have hit a bat. Then the ball's just in play or a foul ball. But I've seen parents where the kid's trying to get out of the way and it hits his knuckles and, he gets first base because the hands are part of the bat, or it's a foul ball, hands are part of it. No, if he's trying to get out of the way and it hits his hands and those hands are still touched the bat, he gets first base. But, parents, especially moms in baseball. I've watched every sport with all my kids, whatever. Moms, and sorry, Andrea, and I'm not even just saying moms. There are stupid dads out there. I'm sorry. And I'm not even saying their moms are stupid. I'm just saying, I hear a lot of moms yelling baseball things that aren't even close to the rules. And I'm like, it just cracks me up, that there's people out there, they hear other people say something, so they say it, or they just know, like I said, they don't even know the rules and they're yelling and screaming stuff. But are there any other weird rules that you guys know of that are in baseball that people misunderstand?
The balk?
Well, the balk is just hard for everybody now because they've actually changed it over here.
The balk is
it's the most when I'm in ball games and you see uneducated fans that will yell at a pitcher when a pitcher will make a movement that's not a balk and they think it is. You'll hear balk, balk. It's because they don't really understand what a balk is.
Right. Well,
the crazy thing is,
Doug, I mean, maybe you're going to say it. To me, the main rule, there's a lot of little things of a balk, but the main rule of a balk is a pitcher can't try to deceive the runner. That becomes a balk.
I was going to say that I work with pitchers and catchers, like at this Little League, we do the other thing. And if you have a lefty on the mound, and you're doing these things, you actually teach them something called the balk move. You know what I mean? Like it's like it looks like you're winding up, but you step toward first base, and so you can sort of balk, but you know, it's weird. Like and the balk move is legal, and all your best lefties.
Well, I know moving the shoulders a certain amount now. You know, now I mean, used to be in the time.
It's essentially considered any movement to the plate once you come set, because they essentially, base runners in the good old days in the '80s when they were running all kinds of bases, they would look for any movement of a pitcher and they would take off. So pitchers could make these fake movements and balk them. I get it.
I mean, when you're doing the balk move, you do a leg kick, which moves your leg forward. Looks like you're going to the plate, but because you land it perpendicular with yourself, you're not going to play that movement until.
Yeah, but that only works if you're a lefty, right?
Right. That only works if you're.
It works pretty darn good.
Yeah, I mean, but even as a
lefty, never had a good kickoff move.
I was a lefty when I pitched, and
I'm not a lefty.
But even as a lefty, you couldn't bring if I brought my leg back at a certain point, then I had to go to first base. I mean, when I was in Little League and no one called it, you could bring that, I could come up with my leg and bring it way back and still go home. But as I got to high school, no, when I brought my kick up, if I crossed a certain point, then I was told I had to then go to first base. I couldn't deceive the runner, by making this big kick behind me and then going to the plate. Now, again, that's my problem. Even umpires in high school aren't always correct. They sometimes will make calls that they heard or think is, it's just an interpretation at some point. Doesn't mean they were right 100% of the time. But I do in the majors, you don't see a balk often like you do in high school, I don't think. But when you do, it is, again, no one hardly argues,
yeah, but for example, a guy like Bob Davidson, they call him balking Bob Davidson because he literally looks for it, and that if you're a pitcher, you better not screw up a single bit because he's going to call it on you just because he's out there looking for that.
Well, okay, and to me, if that's going to happen, then you got to control yourself. You got to not do it.
I've actually been on a balk-off game where they had a balk-off home, scoring run. It was wonderful. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, Kevin is saying, I was picked off second base by a mile one time. I yelled, "That's a balk," and jogged to third base, stolen base. I don't think you get credit for stolen base on a balk, but your sentence is hard to explain because you said you got picked off. Well, if you got picked off, that means you were out, right? You don't get picked off, but then go to, meaning, I think he might say, he might be saying he got caught.
I said I was at a game that was a walk-off. A walk-off, like an actual ending of a game, like a major league game.
Well, see, that's back to our original discussion. Is that a call you would want to see in the end of a game? I mean, that's back to
it was great.
Do we want you don't want to see a horse race in that way, but you want
he said it was great because his team won on the balk off. Had it gone the other way, you would have hated it.
Exactly. My team won on the balk off. It was awesome. But it was it wasn't the fact that it necessarily was. It was the balk off. It was the fact that I had never seen one before. And I've been, like I said, to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of games. So to get to go see something like that, it was very unique. I thought it was cool.
All right, Dan, your microphone's goofy now, just to let you know. But
is it real bad?
Yeah, you're breaking up a lot.
Hold on, let me see if I can switch it to my car. Hold on, give me a second.
But Doug, while we're on that though, I think I get what Kevin Royals is saying. Kevin Royals is saying the guy never tagged me, but it wasn't even the ball. The umpire didn't call anything, so he just went to third and got a stolen base. I think I see what Kevin is saying. He did. He realized he was dead.
How about now? Can you hear me now better?
No, it's pretty much the same thing. It's just kind of
still crappy.
Yeah, real crackly.
It's because I'm driving.
Well, I believe you if that's it, but
we see the car and all. Yeah.
I mean, you've been in your car before and sounded better, though. I will tell you that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's also raining out. I'm about to go play softball in the rain.
Softball in the rain?
It's like
I got rained out.
Intermittent, like kind of raining, kind of not raining. I think they haven't said anything about a game being called yet. So.
See, right now you sound good. So I don't know what you just did or if you got better reception or something, but.
Well, my phone was hooked to my Bluetooth on my stereo, so I think it was coming through the car, and I switched it back to my headphones.
Oh, you do sound better now.
I think his sound is only good if he maintains a speed of 82 miles per hour or higher.
Right, 82 or higher, you're good. So I think Kevin gave thumbs up, so I do get it now. Kevin,
So keep the feet up.
Kevin yelled balk on his own and jogged to third so that the guy wouldn't throw it to third. So he got the stolen base, even though the umpire never called the balk. I got it. He was picked off, but instead of going back to the bag, Kevin, good job. That sounds like a nice, and that's like, don't we all love the hidden ball trick in the pros? It doesn't happen often, but when it happens, isn't that one of the, I mean, stuff that should only happen in a little league game, when it happens in the pros, is fun to see, right?
Yeah, we feel
Henry Rowan Gardner. I can remind you is one of my favorite hidden ball tricks.
Right? They're always
wasn't
fun.
Wasn't that stupid movie with that kid that could pitch 100 miles an hour?
I get the movie's Rookie of the Year and
the
other one
confused. The year when he does that, but when it happens in the pros, isn't that on the coach? I mean, the coach is the one that's supposed to know. The runner is trying to hold on to the bag, get cleaned off, blah, blah. I mean, obviously, the runner is supposed to pay some attention, but the coaches are supposed to be the ones that yell and stay on the bag, stay on the bag, ball's there, on the bag.
I mean, that's the whole point of a hidden ball trick. It's a sleight of hand. No one's supposed to see it.
Well, except to the umpire. Now, there are certain ways that can go bad, too. I know the pitcher can't go on the rubber. There's things even there. You can't do certain things.
You can't step on the rubber without the ball.
Right. Now, is that the best little league thing that can happen in the pros? I mean, I know that Springer got an infield.
I don't know, dude. The little league homers are always my favorite, too.
Yeah, little league homers are fun.
Springer got one of those today, and inside the park home run. Those are fun even in the pros. But
so it's got to be like I saw D Gordon once, ground ball homer. Right. A ground ball home run.
Yeah, where they throw the ball around about 8 different places. Those are the best. Little league home runs like that are the best, where the ball, technically it is an error. I don't even think it's a base hit. If it's a true little league home run, it's not even a hit. It's a bunch of errors that the kid actually gets all the way around on. But the hidden ball trick, I'm just trying to think what else you see in little league that comes up to that level. Now it's the opposite. Now it's the bat flip that went from the pros, and now the little leaguers are doing it. I watched a T-ball kid the other day. I'm not sure if he did a bat flip or if he just can't hold on to the damn bat. The bat went out 20 feet in the air. Like,
I am pro bat flip. Easy.
I know you are. We've had that conversation.
100% pro bat flip.
And I'm fine with bat flip. You know what? I mean, I do like the commercial that said, let the kids play. I know there's old timers and people that just think you shouldn't show people up, all that, but my dad would look at me and go, all right, strike him out next time. I mean, you're in control, walking, strike him out. If you don't want him to hit it, don't let him hit it. That's on you. If you don't want to get shown up, don't give him something to show you up with. Now, but delay a game wise, do you think that matters? Or some people now are saying, okay, I don't mind it, but should we, do we need a guy to take 2.5 minutes to get around the bases?
Why not?
No one's taking 2.5 minutes. I think Reese Hoskins took 37 seconds or something like that this year.
And that was way too long.
The slowest in history was like 52 seconds by David Ortiz years ago. It's like no one takes over a minute.
All right.
You can pretty much walk it in a minute.
But do you have to, I mean, should you at a minimum at least fast jog? I mean, I don't know. Unless it's a walk-off, I get coming down third base line. Even though I'm not a fan of this big partying at home plate, my argument is...
I love that. I love that so much.
You're crazy. Crazy.
Why am I crazy? How is it not fun?
Well...
Baseball is supposed to be fun.
Well,
that kind of stuff kids love doing in little leagues.
I never let my kids do it. I was a dick. That's it. I was one, you know what? If you don't want to be done to you, don't do it. So I would always tell my kids, you wait, let him come around. I wouldn't even let when he comes back, you can all high five him, he hit a home run. I was one of those. When we won a game or a championship, I was not one of those. I would always say, we're going to be gentlemen. We're going to be gentlemen. We'll shake hands. We will celebrate once the other team has been congratulated and whatever. I was never one of those, let's get out and jump around and dive on each other and blah, blah, blah. No, I was always a believer in respect the other team first. Then when they're off, we'll celebrate. So maybe I was, we lost it. Dan. Oh my God. I hope he didn't get hit by a teenage girl. Doug, are you still with me?
Yeah.
What are you looking up?
Well, apparently the Golden State Warriors are winning, and I was trying to think of there was something weird I saw an officiating rule this week, and it's coming up, and I was looking up, but apparently like Anthony Rizzo came up the plate, and I didn't know this until he did it, but he can signal to make the umpire at second base switch sides. Like the batter has that choice. I didn't know that.
I think the rule.
He told the umpire to move, and he told the home plate umpire to move, to have that guy move, and then the umpire made him move.
I think what I understand the rule there is, because I think there's been times where there's been some fights where the umpire didn't move. I think you're allowed to request an umpire to shift or move, but the umpire does have the final say. I don't think the player has 100%.
I guess. It's just interesting that I've never seen that happen.
And I've seen that debate. The umpire,
the signal is like
most
touching your head.
umpires will say they will try to move. They will work with the players.
Well, he wanted him on the other side because he's a left-handed hitter, and he wanted that side free to hit. And the guy moved.
Well, the umpire would say it is free. I'll get out of the way. I'm not a player. I'm not going to catch the ball. That would be my argument. Most umpires, the ball comes their direction, they'll get out of the way. And now, Dan, we don't do it around here. I know you're headed to a softball game, but I've noticed now, and I watch a lot of softball on YouTube here and there. I've noticed more of the more leagues now that are a little higher up are putting the nets in front of the pitchers. Do you guys do that?
No, not yet.
Not yet. I know.
But we do one for BP.
Well, and so do we for BP, but these composite bats and everything, those balls are coming off. I pitch and I wear shin guards. I wear a mask. I didn't used to, but I do now.
In like Little League and Connie Mack and Calrican baseball, you can't use a composite bat. And the bat has to rate if you're using a metal bat, you're required to use a metal bat, but the metal bat has to rate as if it's a wooden bat. There can be no advantage to it. Like literally every composite bat's illegal.
Well, but in softball, there are rules, and we have to use certain bats that meet certain requirements, like A-Trip or ASA or USA softball. They have to be stamped and regulated. And now some of the big leagues even have a compression tester that they put on your bat to make sure that it's not over a certain amount. But that being said,
the wooden bat standard is tagged USA bat. That's what it is. If you see the USA bat, it means that this is as strong as any aluminum bat, meaning it won't break and splinter, but it really is not going to give you any advantage.
Right. But in softball, those balls, the other difference is true in softball, you're pitching at a pretty close distance. I've just noticed they're doing it, and what it does is it counts as a foul ball. If you hit the net, it's a dead ball foul. But in both my leagues, you only get one foul ball. So if you hit a second one there, it's an out. If that's your second foul.
That's what I'm saying. That kind of sucks.
Well,
that part stinks.
But trust me, I've been pitching. The ball comes there every once in a while, but most guys that I'm even that way. I'm good enough with a softball bat to not hit that net unless it's just an accident, type thing. But we do have.
I was brought up in the Charlie Law School of hitting. My coaches always tell me it's like get up the plate, you want to hit up the middle, aim for the pitcher's head.
Yeah, for baseball, softball. There's no way I would teach a young kid playing men's softball now. Hey, here's your goal. Get up there, try to hit at the pitcher's head. It's just not taught.
No, the reason they would say that is because they wanted you to go dead center. I think once in my life I ever hit the pitcher in the face.
Right.
And you don't know where the ball's going. It's a fairly
men's slow pitch softball. You can a little bit. There's different bat control in men's softball than there is in baseball. Dan, do you guys play? See, and I coach my team, so I play 5 infield too. 3 outfield, 5 infield. So I got someone right behind me anyway at second base, which helps protect me also. The guys that can control the bat that know I can't go up the middle because my team, we play a fielder right behind second base. You guys do that, or do you play 4 outfielders?
4 outfield. That's interesting. You guys do that now. Is that allowed in the league, or do you just essentially play a really shallow outfielder?
I forgot. You don't like the shift. No, we're allowed to play the shift in our league. So no, we're allowed 10 men on the field. We can technically put 10 men wherever we want, but I'm actually the other way around. I play with a bunch of very young kids. My three outfielders cover a lot of ground, and when you put the 4th one out there, they collide a lot. Meaning, yeah, every once in a while, line drives will drop in a gap where maybe if we had that other outfielder, but my three guys are very quick and cover a lot of ground. So it gives me that, flexibility to put another infielder in to protect me as a pitcher and to, protect the middle of the field on the ground balls. So, technically, it's similar to playing a shift. It just, I play some teams where the guys will always hit it right back up the middle on the ground, trying to get a cheap base hit, but they can't because, I've got 5 infielders. And again, my outfielder, I got, three 23-year-old kids that can. Last year, I'm missing this year already. Last year, I had a kid who was a lineman for Ohio University, who had just graduated college. And now, like I said, he didn't go on, but played for OU as a linebacker. And oh my God, he about killed somebody in my outfield when we had 4 of them because he was covering so much ground. He just assumed every ball in the air he could get to it. And, so we had to work around that. But no, men's softball, I enjoy softball. So, now do you guys now play? I know I'm making it a softball thing. Do you guys have home run rules where it's limited home runs, unlimited home runs, that kind of stuff out there?
I'm not 100%.
You don't know?
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm not really. I know the last year that I played in a league, there was a 2. You could hit 2 before another team had to hit 1, and if you hit more than that, it was an out.
Okay, and that's kind of what we do. I play in one league that's a 3, and another one that's a 1, where you cannot be up any more than 1 home run on the other team. Meaning, once your team hits 1 home run, you can't hit another one until the other team hits a home run. And then I played another league where you have 3. You can hit up to 3, and then as soon as they hit 1, you can hit 1 more. Obviously, if they hit 3, you can hit 3 more, but you can never have more than 3 home runs. So I play in one league that's a 1 home run up, and I play in the other league where it's a 3 home run and up.
I got those rules exist, and I hate them.
Well,
I gave up my first homer pitching ever last week. I was so freaking pissed, like over the fence homer, like real deal. I could not believe it. I mean, the kid that was playing was phenomenal. He must have been like a college player on the other team, but he just parked a homer on me, and I was like, holy shit.
But men's softball isn't like real baseball. I mean, giving up a homer in softball isn't something necessarily you plan or don't plan.
Well, it's true. I do plan it though. I pitch a very specific way. I put a lot of backspin on my ball. And you got to figure the hitter's objective to try and get a ball out of the park is to put backspin the other way. So if I'm putting backspin from my direction, they have to work overtime to get that ball to spin. So I induce a lot of ground balls when I pitch. And man, this kid was so good. He just put one over the fence, and I was so pissed.
What is the rationale behind saying don't hit home runs? I understand don't hit fouls.
A couple of things. One, back to the bats and the composite. Hitting home runs is a little, I don't want to use the word easier, but the bat material has made it, the ball does come off a little hotter. But probably the number one thing is length of time of the games.
And that's what I thought it was. Like,
we are limited, right? We're limited to an hour and 15 minutes.
So they divide the night up into 3 games instead of letting the game play, and like that just stinks.
Right.
I can remember playing in a game where
I played a game where it's 35-42, and there was like 20 home runs.
I played a game where 3 guys hit back-to-back home runs, and that was
the other issue with that is cost. In some fields, if in those days umpires would have to have 10 balls behind them. Because every time one got hit out, you'd have to have another ball ready to put in play because you couldn't wait for them to come in. But I've actually been at games where you had to stop the game until someone went out to the outfield and threw in the 5 balls that went over the fence. I mean, it's just a time issue as much as anything.
Yeah,
But again, it also you can say it stinks. As someone who's played a long time, it also brings a skill to the game that's now required. Meaning if you don't have home runs to give up, you can't get up there and just swing as hard as you want. You have to now try to figure out, okay, I'm going to have to try to line drive or hit the gap or hit a ground ball.
In my life, I've hit a lot of home runs, and I've never thought, well, maybe one time in my life I thought I'm going to hit a home run now. And, most of the time I get up there and I would say, I want to hit the ball as clean as possible and as hard as possible.
Okay. But in men's softball with these new materials, I mean, I'm 57 and I have the ability to hit a home run.
When I was in a league where they had the home run rules, I'm thinking like, all right, I have to like take something off what I normally do.
Right.
Like so,
Trust me.
like that's weird.
They're on my team, and I've got a couple young kids. I've got me. There's probably 4 of us that are going to hit more than a home run, meaning anyone could accidentally hit one. There's probably out of the 11, 12 kids on my team, there's 4 of us that are going to hit 2, 3, 4, 5 home runs, maybe. So everyone else is getting up there trying to hit as hard as they can or hit gaps and do whatever. But at the same time, if you don't have a home run to give, even that person has to be careful, because again, you don't want to make the last out of an inning, hitting a home run, where a simple, where a simple dribbler would have scored the run you need.
And it's like it's 3-2. A guy hits a home run and the game's over. You lose.
Been there.
Yeah,
been there.
It is.
Sucks.
11:30. So if there's another topic you want to get to before the night,
I know if we started talking, it won't get done. How about baseball stuff, Dan? You're my baseball guy. Anything major happened today that
Chris Sale? Man, are we not talking about that guy? I mean, because he looked phenomenal tonight. What do you have, like 16 strikeouts or something crazy like that?
Unfortunately, I was getting ready for my show and doing stuff, so I only watched the Reds and the Cubs. Votto hit a home run.
Surprised it was only
made contact.
But I don't know. I tried to warn people not to panic early. April's a different animal when it comes to especially fantasy baseball. And man, I saw Chris Sale people just jumping ship on him, giving him away for freaking nothing in a couple of leagues, and I was so pissed.
17 strikeouts in 7 innings. 17 of 21 guys that he got out, he struck out.
Yeah, I was watching him pitch, and he looked filthy from like the first inning. His slider just had depth to it, and it was just freaking no one could hit it. I mean, he threw one that landed at Ian Desmond's back foot. He swung right through, and it was absolutely ridiculous. And I was like, "Oh, it's going to be a long night for the Rockies." And then he just started just shredding them up.
Did he? The guys of the Rockies strikeouts and lost?
Yeah, they lost. He didn't get the loss, though.
But he didn't give up the runs, though.
Okay. He gave up 2 of them.
Yeah, but it was 4-4 when I left the shop just now to come to this game. It was 4-4. So.
Trevor Story, Mark Reynolds, Ramil Tapia, Ian Desmond, and Chris Iannetta all struck out 3 times each.
Vlad Jr. hit his first home run. What do you think about the Vlad Jr.?
Yeah, Vlad Jr.'s going to get hot. I'm telling you, everybody watch out for him.
Come on, if you drafted him, and I saw people take him in the 3rd round, he's not coming close.
Bro, I just give him a little bit of chance. Even Mike Trout did not come up and set the world on fire his first 60 at-bats in the big league. Give this guy a chance.
Was I playing him today?
Who would you rather have right now, Vlad Jr. or Votto? Who would you rather have?
Or who?
Vlad Jr.?
Vlad at 2 runs.
Vlad Jr. all day.
No, I think Votto's more likely to have a better from here forward. I think Votto's got a better shot.
Did you say he had 2 home runs, then?
Who? Vlad Jr.
On bench, and he got 2 home runs
today.
Wow, that's my boy.
All right, but see, Votto had 1. But I agree. Kevin is saying the same thing. If someone made me an offer today and my choice was Vlad Jr. or Votto, I'm definitely taking Votto. I think Votto's.
Well, because you're a Reds homer, first off, and second off, that's a wrong decision.
No, it isn't. Votto is not going to.
Absolutely no way. Votto. Look at Votto's numbers last year. I think Vlad Jr. could put those up in a month.
Votto was hurt. I'm just saying. Votto is not going to end this.
Votto is 35. Vlad Jr. is 21.
We're not that. So what? We're talking 3 months of baseball, not a career. I'm just saying. If I had my choice. Now here's the big. I put it in the chat room this morning. Everyone ignored me. Which Seager would you rather have right now on your bench, Kyle or Corey?
Corey for sure.
Seager, right?
Kyle has barely been able to hit above 230 for the last couple seasons.
I love the silver.
But he's coming back. Corey isn't doing anything. Kyle,
yeah, but he's also coming off a year where he didn't play because of Tommy John surgery.
And surpass that.
I would rather have Corey Seager because Kyle Seager is he's a known.
Kyle Seager is a hell of a defensive third baseman, so he's going to play.
No, for his team, he's good. For a fantasy team, he's a passable third baseman. He's nothing special.
I don't know. I guess I'm off. I'm just a fan.
Seager is an unknown quantity.
My team would have Votto. My team would have Votto and Kyle Seager right at the moment, not Vlad Jr. and Corey Seager. I'm just saying.
No, see, we can make that trade all day long. If I'm on the other side, if I got Votto and Kyle Seager, I will take that trade 400 times out of 400. Easy. on my end of it, on the Kyle Seager Vlad Jr. side.
Unfortunately, right now, Corey
I don't want either.
Corey Seager has the most value still at that point, even though he's not doing anything. You know, Corey Seager still got drafted. You know,
I would take that trade if it was Bob Seager instead of Corey Seager, just because I like Vlad that much.
Yeah,
I would take Bob Seager. I'm still thinking.
Now, see it right now, Josh Bell. I would take Josh Bell ahead of Votto. That's what
Josh Bell is breaking out in a huge way, though, this year.
Okay, but that's my problem. Hold on, Dan. Breakout one good month at the beginning of the season doesn't make
no. If you look what he did in the second half of last year, and you look what he's doing in the first half of this year, I believe we're seeing a true step forward in a hitter. If you look, I just watch the film on him hitting homers. If you look at how he's putting the bat on the ball, he's really realizing that he's got the strength to hit these homers on the major league level. And he looks really good to me right now.
Bell, he said, got another home run. Thanks, Malpal. So I do think I would take Bell over Votto.
He kind of reminds me of Prince Fielder when he puts the bat on the ball really, really hard. You just got that hard uppercut stroke.
I'm still putting Vlad Jr. below both of them. So
I'm thinking Vlad over either.
Huh?
I'm thinking Vlad over 0 for 3.
You're taking.
I'm telling you, watch out for Vlad, dude. I'm telling you, Vlad Jr. will finish with over 25 homers this year.
He's the last of the. I own him in a dynasty league, and he's like the last of my good players in my minors. So he's coming up. Actually, the other thing I was looking at the other like there's 3 other guys that just started either today or started today in baseball. Oscar Mercado hit his first game. Nicky Lopez for the Royals, and
how did Hero do? Because I was able to get him in 1 or 2 leagues.
I saw his first at bat, and it was an infield single, and I don't think too much of that, but he wound up 2 for 3. Not too bad. It looks like he has decent plate discipline.
Now, I have put in a significant fab bid for him in one of my leagues. I would say it's probably 25% of my overall budget that I have left.
When I started on this, I was talking about my fantasy league, my dynasty team, and I go, I've like everybody in my dynasty in my minors is gone except for Vlad Guerrero and Keston Hiura. Now I have absolutely nothing. The cupboard is bare. You know.
I would agree, but that's why you draft them. I mean, once the cupboard's bare, then you got to trade and assume you're playing for now and not the future, right? I mean, now you just have to go for it.
I'm at the back end of a cycle of being a good team. And
the back end of a cycle, man.
You get like a 3-4 year window, you know.
Nothing ruins a good night out in a movie than being at the.
Well, look, guys, I gotta roll. I am officially here, so I gotta get off. But I think you have me on.
We're not gonna be too much longer.
Yeah, we're about done anyway. Dan, good luck. Good
Thanks,
luck.
man.
Throw them high and tight, brother. High and tight.
I'm not pitching tonight. I think I'm gonna play third or short. I'm not 100%.
Hot corner.
Yes. I like third.
Get that glove oil. Dan, thanks for coming on Monday nights at 11 still?
Yeah, man. Rocking and rolling. And maybe Thursday.
Thursday, I'm thinking so. Yeah, I'm thinking.
All right. Thanks,
anyway.
man. And Doug,
good, guys.
Doug, what about you? Anything you had?
You want to wrap it up right now?
I have a couple other topics, but I'll say.
I was going to give you this. Did you hear this story about for Mother's Day, the Padres changed their Twitter handle to Madres, and somebody stole the Padres Twitter handle for a day?
Wait a minute. No, that was kind of funny, but I can't imagine why you would steal it. I mean, just because you use another one shouldn't make that one available to steal, I wouldn't think. But I don't know.
In Twitter's rules, you can only have one Twitter handle at a time. So when he switched to Madres, it opened up Padres. Now, the guy that got it was like some college kid from the area who was a big Padres fan, and like they could switch it back the next day. So he only had it for a day, but it's one of those things where they weren't really thinking. So for a day, some college kid from, I don't know.
Well, I know they did the pink and everything on Mother's Day for cancer and for mothers. I think that's cool.
I'm getting a little tired of it personally.
I'm getting tired. You're getting tired of supporting cancer. I get it.
No, there's a little bit of like I'm a big charitable person, but I think that of all the things out there, it's like
okay. Are you saying you've just had enough of the pink? Enough pinkness out there?
There is like only X number of charitable dollars to go out, and I think that breast cancer gets more than its fair share, considering the seriousness of some other problem. Well, it's like there's no reason why breast cancer gets 4 times the money as like the American Cancer Society for all cancer.
Again, I said it earlier. I thanked everyone out here. My father-in-law is dealing with colon cancer, so obviously no one's wearing.
In my family, we had
we're not wearing brown for colon cancer, and
no, they don't. They don't even have a. They don't even have like a ribbon for lung cancer.
well, I think
everyone just figures that.
Okay, but pink is started with breast cancer. But I think now most people, Dan, politically correct. I think most people now put just cancer and pink together. I think it kind of covers the whole gamut of when you see a sporting event and they're all in pink like that. They're just, they're supporting cancer. When they stand up with those signs that say, I'm doing this in support of so and so. I think it's not just all breast cancer. Dan, come on.
Remember a couple years ago when like the 8 bucket challenge was a big thing? It was like literally the people with ALS were going, we're getting less money because everybody's giving money to Susan Komen and the Breast Cancer Foundation. We need to do something to get money. You know what I mean? Because they've done too good a job of marketing that one particular disease.
Too good of money marketing your disease.
No, as big a fan as I am of breasts, there's other things out there, guys.
I know, and colons are one of them. I don't have breasts, but I do have a colon, and I'd recommend. I don't even know I think the things have changed on men getting checked or not getting. I don't know. Just ask your doctor. If you need a checkup, ask your doctor. My father-in-law is going through stuff that I don't want to go through, and I don't think anyone else does either. Hey, you know what? If you need to be checked, just get it checked. Nobody wants to die either.
I'll give you another story from when we were talking about who died at baseball. Apparently, in 1957, there was a minor league team in Havana, Cuba, and a player who was playing named Frank Verdi was shot on the field by a spectator.
That doesn't count either. If you died doing this because of something.
The good news is that particular player, he didn't die. He was at the hospital. He was treated. He wanted to take baseball for a long time. But the idea of going to a game and getting shot, that's kind of a
people come to this podcast or broadcast or this live show for uplifting stories, and you got people just pow right on the damn. I'm worried about you. I'm definitely worried about you. You know what I thought about tonight, but I didn't have time. It is time for me to throw together. I think we talked about it. I mean the flaming cha-cha that I invented years, back on a show. I was going to get the recipe out and actually make one of those today. They are a very refreshing drink. And I'm not the only one, only because someone else came up with another drink, or it's not even. They didn't come up with it. I think now there's this. It's called a hot margarita or something now, where they're now putting pepper or hot sauce in a margarita. I'm like, I did that. I mean, technically, what I made with the cha-cha drink was a margarita. It was tequila, it was lime juice, it was simple syrup, it had cocoa powder, and it had pepper. I mean, it's technically, I invented what's now popular, which is this new hot margarita. Technically, if I'd have just called what I was drinking the hot margarita instead of the bitching cha-cha or whatever.
The official drink of the dugout is and always will be. My favorite mixed drink is the Bloody Mary, because it's the only thing you can drink in the morning. But there are a lot of refreshing drinks out there.
There are. I'm just saying.
I'll give like I love me a Pim's cup.
A Pim.
And the truth is, and the truth is, if it's done right, when you drink absinthe is very refreshing.
I've heard that.
Because it's a lot of water, a lot of chilled water.
Yeah, nothing wrong with chilled water. Malpal, for being out there. Malpal was here with us. Yes, Malpal did just put in there that Josh Bell hit his second home run, which we just said. Man, I have Charlie Morton. Charlie Morton had a hell of a night tonight for my fantasy team, if anyone cares. 6 innings, got the win, no earned runs, 5 Ks.
You had Kershaw going up against Paddock in the.
I have Kershaw too. I have Kershaw, and
it wasn't as dominating on the pitching side as you would think.
I picked up Keuchel this week for $6.
Wow.
What's the odds that June 4th he's going to be pitching for the Yankees? That's what I'm hoping. Keuchel pitching for the Yankees. June.
It seems like they would be. They had such problems with keeping people healthy. They're the one team that I think would do it. But then again, the Brewers just signed Gio Gonzalez, and so like there are other teams out there, I imagine, that I'm just not thinking of. I wouldn't have thought.
I guess everyone's saying now, though, the thing with Keuchel and Krimble are that June 2nd or 3rd thing where If they wait after the draft, they don't have to give up a pick. So I think that's now most likely. So to me, it was worth picking him up now off of waivers for $6 than someone, I mean, obviously, $6 got him this week. I can sit him on my bench in this league. I'm in third place. So I figured if I go 500 with him on my bench, and then he becomes a starter for the Yankees, I can take, and I don't think he's going to come back and give us great ERA or whip or anything, but at a minimum, he's going to give me wins, and I need wins. So,
that's the one thing you normally get from New York Yankee pitchers.
Exactly. That's the only thing. Now, the other argument is there's a chance he goes to Tampa Bay, but he could get me wins there too.
I can't see Tampa Bay.
I don't either. I see the Yankees. I do see if the Yankees more like
the logic, I guess, is like if you're a team and you see yourself competing for the year, you're sort of expected to make a move to make yourself better in the middle of the season. And Tampa hates trading their good players. They hate trading their prospects because those are the guys that are cheap. So it would make more sense for them to go sign Keuchel because that's just cash than to try to trade for a Madison Bumgarner or somebody along those lines.
And I think both Keuchel and Kimball both have said, Kimball, they'll both play for a 1-year contract, meaning they're willing to, which means you're going to sign them. You're going to get them for the last 4 months, at a reasonable price. But I don't know. I thought he was worth $6. Take up my bench spot, and hopefully I go 500.
Is it 6 out of? Is it 6 out of 100 or 6 out of
1,000? 6 out of 1,000.
Yeah, no problem. I found that I'm having.
And here's the thing, though. I overpaid. No one else put in a claim. He had been out there for a few days, and I really thought maybe somebody was just waiting until Monday to pick him up. Once they got through the week, and I'm like, I don't know. My pitch is strong. And I thought, hey, he's worth having on my bench. I'm
having a real tough time with an auction league because they're doing fab, and they're doing fab at 1,000 instead of 100. So I'm having a hard time deciding how much I'm supposed to be bidding on a player. I know that you just do it as functions of 10 or whatever, but
right. Well,
it seems like
$6 would be like $1 if you were playing in $100 league.
Like for instance, the two guys, Nicky Lopez and Oscar Mercado, came up. Right, they're both American League players, right? How much do you think they would go for in 1,000 fab American League thing? Like if it was $100 fab, I would go. We're probably like $20 to $25 players, right?
The problem with fab money is it varies on leagues. The same player in 4 different leagues can go for, pardon?
333. It's like I think that by giving people that much fab. And the one thing I really hate, I don't like fab leagues where you can do $0 bids. What it is infinite money, but their move. And I was like, I want that guy, so I'll bid $400. Seems like I lose every one of them.
Yeah, I do agree with you. I never do a $0 bid. If I want the guy at a minimum, I put $1 down. I never put 0 because I assume, I either need him or I don't. And if I can't get him for
I could see once in a while, the thing where your catcher's got a 7-day concussion, so you're just taking a backup catcher. You don't want to waste any, so you put in 3 bids at 0 to get a guy. I understand that thinking, but it's basically a $0 bid gives a person carte blanche to be an idiot with all his other bids because there's no repercussions for running out of tab.
They don't have to budget their money, knowing, hey, I need to keep some money for the playoffs.
Exactly it. And so when you're in a league with $0 fab, then when there's $0 picks, which my home league isn't, I haven't really budgeted the fact that nobody is thinking about the proper value of it. They're thinking how much do I have to spend to get this guy? Right. So you get this $400 out of 1,000 and $500, and so I wind up getting nobody.
See, I don't spend my money wild. I mean, I always end up with money left over, which a lot of people say, if you finish with money left over, you're doing it wrong. I'm the opposite. I believe I like the idea that if I have money left, if I have more money than the guy I'm playing in the playoffs, it gives me an advantage. Meaning if something major happens, I can make a move and he can't block me, or the opposite. If something major happens on his team, I can block him because I have enough money to outbid him. And to me, it's good to get all the way to the World Series in your league. Having more money than the guy playing.
Just this year, I blew out my fab in my fantasy football league to make the playoffs. And when I was in the playoffs, my quarterback got hurt, and I couldn't pick. I got like the third best quarterback, and it made the difference. Like it was like I had won that league 3 years in a row. This year, I got knocked out in the first round
because you mismanaged your money.
I had no. I had no money left.
Had no money.
No money left. You need to have at least a sum in the playoffs. At least some if you're
Speaking
allowed to.
Of no money left, we're going to end this show with 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
No, we can do this.
If we do this right, then it'll all be like Geico commercial. The next 10 minutes.
I don't even know how that works. Doug, I appreciate you for coming on. Like I said, Lenny Melnick, fantasysports.com, the Legend Sports Network. You can find Easy Kill on Twitter. That's the best place to get a hold of me. I'm just Easy Kill at a fantasy fan. Doug, I know you're at.
I have a show. I'm at Urban Baboon. My show is Saturday at 10 o'clock in the morning on Saturdays, and it looks like more and more.
Wait, Saturday at 11 on Saturdays. That's the perfect thing.
10 o'clock on Saturdays. Saturday morning.
No, you said Saturday at 10 on Saturdays.
Yeah. No, I actually like what we had this week.
I know.
We had like we had our show, then we had Arnie's show, then we had Lou's show. We had like a $3 block. It's like Saturday morning cartoons.
I got it. I you know me. I'll try to get there. Saturdays are tough for me, but I'll try.
And the other thing is that it seems like more and more there's going to be that dugout fisticuff show where Dan and I are going to get on periodically. And right now it's Thursdays at 10 o'clock. It'll probably happen this Thursday.
Okay.
It really comes down to it comes down to basically it's like right now in my life and in his life, he makes like in his life, he's like, I'm going to be free Monday to do my show. And for me, it's like, I'm going to be free Tuesday. I'm going to be free Tuesday for you. Tuesday for you and Saturday morning. And so Thursday, something could happen. And I don't, whereas I consider it a priority, it's not an A+ priority.
Right.
Something else could happen.
Well,
so it's just kind of funny that we tend to go, we tend to like announce like, yep, we're sure about 40 minutes before we're ready to go on. But my hope is like last week I had my friend Steve on with me on the Fisco Dugout show. And my hope is that like he can take the weeks I can't make and you can have like, because my show, the Dugout Show is like a weekly magazine. We cover all the transactions. We have a little bit of fun. We talk about a topic in a little bit of detail. It's meant to be, it's meant to be a weekly idea. I don't have the opportunity on my show just to geek out on fantasy sports. And that's what I get with Dan, you know?
Right. All right. And here sometimes tonight we talked a little bit about fantasy.
Yeah. No, I enjoy this. I would say that this is like, if you were going to point somebody to one show just to have a good time, it would normally be this one.
Right. And I did. And again,
better shows. Your first show listening, there's been better shows than this one, but not this one as a whole. Like this show has been fairly mediocre, and it's mostly Easy's fault. But
thank you. But you know what? Like, you know, I know there's multiple people out that are in the chat room and say all the time, "Wow, try to come on," and just have never been on. I'm like, you know,
I don't know why they don't. What is so scary about? I mean, like.
I don't know.
I guess it is that like I brought the new guy on and like I know him from playing with him for a half a decade that he knows sports, but you know the red light comes on and it takes a minute for him to click into gear,
right?
And like when we were on with Dan last week, he was fine, and then he just dropped away because it's like, boy, you guys are going so fast. Like, you know,
hey, once you make it to the bigs, when you make it to the big, when you get that call up, you got to be ready. But
I go, no, that's the way it is. I go, look, you're going to change over time. The more you speak, the better you're going to get at it. I have a terrible stutter. Most people don't notice that as much as it is. And I said, the other thing is like when you're reading baseball throughout the week, which we all do, you're going to read with an eye toward what might be interesting to other people.
Right. I keep a notepad on my right. I have a little notepad.
Before you were just like, what's important to you? The Cubs are winning. Now it's like, wow, that's an interesting story. The story about the Padres and the Madres. Now, I have no place for that. But that's still an interesting story, and it belongs on
the round table. We can throw that out because that's the shit you would talk about at a bar with a buddy. You know, that's the kind of thing. And you go, you know, there's always that silence every once in a while where you're all sitting around and you're drinking and you just kind of sit and you realize, I don't think there's any conversation going on right now. So you go, hey, did you hear what happened today? And you just go with it. So, but
I think I did it to you. Yeah, like I went there and go like, we were sitting here with 10 minutes to go going, we're going to wrap up on time. I just made our goodbye take a full 6-7 minutes.
Well, that's why I started at 10 till. I always have. And again, I realized last week with Wesley was my biggest show. We had almost over 80 viewers of my YouTube channel. Technically, based on the numbers I kind of know in the chat room and all that, I mean, I had 200 or 300 listeners of that show, and I listened back to it and realized,
wow,
I did not one time say how to get a hold of me. I in the middle, I did say fantasysports.com, but I didn't say the Twitter. I didn't say my YouTube handle. I didn't say anything because I'm mad at it. I get so into the show. If people don't think I'm sold on this, then they haven't listened enough. I don't shut up, and I'm so wrapped up into the conversation, I forget some of the business part of it.
On your page on Spreaker, there's a box for this thing called like promo or whatever, where you can like have something play every start of thing. It's like the truth. Like I recorded one of those things to just do the thing, but I literally have one that says you're listening to the dugout on the Lenny Melnick thing.
Yeah,
of Lenny's Melnick Network, and it's and I put it up in the sound effects,
right?
So that I can just press that periodically.
Yeah,
it's like, I forget.
But I like the spontaneous of saying it. But you know what? You can find me at LennyMelnickFantasySports.com, or my website is afantasyfan.com, but that takes you to my Lenny's page.
And if you're listening on anything else besides Lenny Melnick's Fantasy Sport, we love you for being there, but come over for 1 week.
The chat room.
And try the chat room out.
Right. Not just that. I didn't even talk, not only that, the round table is for anyone in the chat room. I will post the link, and I say that, and tonight I only did a few times. I'll post the link. If you're in the chat room, say, hey, I want to come on and talk about what you guys are talking about. It's the show.
If we're saying something that gets you riled, you want to talk for 10 minutes, jump on with us.
Right. Except no Andrea's at 11:56. No Andrea. Come on right now.
Yeah, I guess, you can come on as long as you come on before.
Right. But that's where you find us all. Right. I try to always say LennyMelnickFantasySports.com, the Legend Sports Network. That's where you can find us all. You click on the podcast or click on the listen live. But like I said, my page on Lenny, afantasyfan.com, that'll also take you to Lenny's site, but it just takes you to my page, which has the chat, the video, and the audio. And I think that's part. Like tonight, Dan didn't have his video on most of the time. I've had a few people say, well, I'm just not sure I want to be on video. You can come on this show without video. No one's going to say a word. No one's going to care. So, don't let that stop you if you're afraid of being on video. So, I think there's more people in our chat room that's active enough.
Some people are intimidated by just how goddamn handsome you are. Like to be up there next to you.
Got it, Doug. You got it. Intimidating. I apologize. I apologize for being so damn easy looking. All right, everybody, take it easy. Lenny Melnick will be back tomorrow at 9:00. I think. I don't even advertise the shows for the next week because
he might be 5 minutes early to get the free show.
Yeah, I know, right? And JJ will be on it too. Those are the only ones I know. So. Cam will be on it sometime. Jonathan Cole will be on sometime. I think
the draft upside's at 7 on Wednesdays. That one I know.
There you go. All right. Doug, thanks again. We are going to end before. No, don't say another word. We are going to end before.
You have a show tomorrow night.
I do have a show. Thank you. Oh, right. I can advertise my own show, a Fantasy Fan Sportscast, where me and Chris, we talk all kinds of sports stuff, but mainly football. Chris is excited.
They're going to go in depth on Luchador wrestling, I hear. So get on that show.
Now that you brought it up already, I can't repeat stuff to my big fan base.
We didn't say anything. We didn't talk. We announced he was dead at a moment of silence.
There you go.
Good night. Good night. Shut up. Click the button.
Doug, say good night.
Good night.
This has been Just a Fantasy Fan podcast. And to keep your fantasies going, follow us at justafantasyfan.com. Say good night. Good night.